So, welcome, Christine. I am delighted to have Christine Placé here today, CEO of Harama, with us. Harama was alerted to Christine's talent after she guided Trophos, a company that focused on spinal muscular atrophy, to positive phase 2-3 results, which led to an acquisition by Roche in 2015. After that, in 2016, she joined Harama, a leading biotech developing a gene therapy for approaches for ophthalmic diseases. And as you may have seen on our website, they recently started a first-in-human trial for their gene therapy for retinitis pigmentosa. So Christine, tell me, at the end of last year, you raised 19 million euros in Series B fundraising to support further development of your therapy. Were you happy with this amount? Was it a difficult process? Perhaps any tips for people who might be in a similar situation?
Raising money is never an easy thing. It always takes time, and always much more time than we expect at the very beginning. But this time we are happy enough to work in gene therapy, and for the moment there is kind of interest for that specificity. First of all, we already concluded a Series A in 2016, so a year before the Series B, with 4 French VCs for an amount of 4 million euros. And for the Series B, we have been happy enough to have, in addition to those 3 French VCs, European VCs. So we now have, in addition to Omnes, Go Capital and Turensham, we also have Kurma, who is very active in rare disease area, and who is the lead investor, but also Fund Plus, a Belgian fund, which is quite young, they are maybe 2 years old. And Pontifax, an Israeli VC. And I think that the most difficult is maybe first to make a good contact and to progress with the lead. And once you've got a lead, it's easier, to add the other ones. But you have first of all to make something with the lead one, except that the lead comes only if the other will come to have an enough amount of money. So, it's a chicken and egg, and sometimes it's a bit tricky.
Cool. So, as I mentioned, so you announced the start of your phase 1 to 2 clinical trial for your gene therapy in July. Can you comment on that at all? Is it going well so far?
So yes, for us it's a very big achievement. It's the start of something, but also a big achievement because our lead product, Aura PD6 beta, which is developed to treat retinitis pigmentosa, which is an inherited rare ophthalmologic disease. PD6 beta has been for the first time given to a patient in December 2017, so it's very recent. So we are conducting that clinical trial in Nantes Hospital in west of France. It's a monocentric trial. It's a phase 1-2. So what we are targeting is obviously first of all to assess the tolerance of the product, but also if we are lucky enough to catch some signal of efficacy. And this is a curative treatment, or it's developed to be curative. We will see that. And for the moment, the patients have absolutely nothing. So this is a generative process, and the patients who have that mutation on their PD6 gene lose their visual function, and become blind at the adult age, and there is no treatment. So,
so you're catching people at an early stage?
Yes, if possible, but as the target of the treatment is to stop the degenerative process, little improvement on the cells which are quiescent and not, but to stop the degenerative process. So whatever the stage of the progression of the disease, if you stop it and help the patient to keep what they still have as visual function, it's always, good.
Yeah, of course, that's very true. There seems to be a lot of interest at the moment in developing gene therapies for ophthalmological disorders. I mean, with people like Nightstar and Allergen, I mean, I wonder if you could tell me a bit about what's unique about Harama's therapy.
Well, that's true that we are not the only one to develop gene therapy for that kind of disease. It may be because it works now. We know that. We are working with AAVs, so this is one kind of gene therapy, and it works very well for ophthalmologic disease. We have a naturally occurring dog model for that specific disease. Which is very, very helpful, I have to say. It's not often that you can have that. And this is similar to what happened to Spark Therapeutics, you mentioned that, with Luxturna. Spark Therapeutics has developed a treatment for retinal dystrophies induced by mutation on RP65 gene. And they also had another naturally occurring dog model, and that's why maybe they have been able to go so quick and so far with that. But there is only one product which is approved so far, and only in the US for the moment. So with Luxturna, that's that one, Luxturna. And but there are other companies. We have some competitors working on other retinal dystrophies, but as it is gene-specific approach, we are the only company working on the PD6 beta gene. So our specificity is that we have chosen that gene, and we should be the only one to reach the market with that, probably.
So in your previous career, you spent almost 12 years at Trophos, during which time the company's lead candidate actually she failed in trials for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, but then you managed to repurpose it for the treatment of spinal muscular atrophy. Could you talk a bit about, I mean, that initially must have seemed like a failure, and I wonder how easy was it to turn that around and actually make it into something a bit more like a success?
I think it was not easy, first of all. And this is a very long story. The Trophos is a long story. It was a biotech company based in Marseille, in the south of France, and we were developing small molecules, so a completely different approach. Small molecules to treat neurodegenerative disease. And we had a few compounds. And the story is that it is the same compound who failed in SLA, and who had a success for SMA. So, and this is a difficulty in our jobs, the fail in ALS was that we have not been able to show the efficacy of our product. It was not that our product was not efficient. This is not the same. But in neurodegenerative disease, it's very, very difficult to design the right study to see something. And once when we had that failure, it was in 2011, I think. It was a hard time because it was a quite big clinical trial for a small company like we were, 500 patients, 18 months of treatment and follow-up, etc. So after that, we were quite a bit depressed. We had a few money, but no story to tell, to raise some new money. We lost some key people. The CMO left. the CEO left. At that time, I was the CFO, and then the shareholders proposed me to become the CEO of the company, and it was not nice present, I have to say, because. But I wanted, yes, I wanted to see the end of the story, so I accepted that proposal, and with the team. We have decided to focus on a few projects able to deliver value within a short term. I mean, with the reachable with the money we had at that time. And so we stopped the other, too early stage, etc. And then we kept 3 trials, one in cardio project, failed, phase 1-2 failed. One in MS, in multiple sclerosis, which was interesting but too exploratory, you know, to be exploited by us. And then the last one in SMA, it was a phase 1-2, no, phase 2, and it was the less probable to obtain a positive result. Because we had no proof of concept in anymore, you know, we were, you know, but finally it turned out to be a success. And at that time we were only 15 people left in the company, and we had maybe 3 or 4 months of cash in front of us. And
so it's quite a good turnaround.
Yeah. And but because we had prepared for the exit while we were not sure to have something to sell one day, we have been able to do it.
Ah, okay, interesting.
Yeah, we started, so I took the CEO position in 2012, and immediately we have started, you know, to scout and to go to all the conferences, bio, all the bio, BioSpring, etc. And to meet with all the big and mid pharma to present our project, and the answer was very often, wow, that's nice and very interesting. Please come back once you will have some results. That's what we did. Yeah.
So I understand that was, so you ended up selling the company for 120 million, was that right?
It was 470.
Yeah. So yes, that was in additional milestones as well.
Yeah.
So so that was quite a success. So how did that whole process go? Was that, I mean, presumably that was, it sounds like that was exactly what you were hoping for, from, you know, having a good deal, a good acquisition deal.
It was the mission that the shareholders gave to me. But yes, it was an achievement for everybody. Although in biotechs, we should, when we are working with the projects and the product, we are happy to push the product further and to see the end of the story, but it's not always possible, and having that kind of exit is a success. If you have the possibility to go further, to reach, you know, to have your product approved, etc., that's also interesting.
And of course, when I was reading about the company prior to today, I saw that's not the end of the story, of course, because unfortunately Roche decided this summer to discontinue the product. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah. So that must have been a bit of a disappointment for you.
It is. Our product is a small molecule. This is a neuroprotective treatment. But in the meantime, other approaches have been developed and successful. Gene therapy approach. Which are curative, and so that's better than our product. In our mind, they should have keep it to combine and, you know, give an alternative to the patients who are maybe not eligible for gene therapy, because the existing treatment are not, you know, for all the SMA patients. But that's their decision. You know, big pharma.
Yeah. So I wonder if you could comment. So obviously, with big pharma versus biotech, the decision-making process for things like that's quite different. So
Yeah. When you are in a biotech, you've got one or two projects, and they are your babies, and you would give your life for them. That's not the same for big pharmas, who they have to take strategic decision and can decide to stop a product, even if it works, even if it's efficient. It is efficient, you know.
So I mean, an interesting point. You mentioned Luxturna before. I know Luxturna have come under criticism for their pricing strategy because obviously it's very expensive. I know your therapy is at a very early stage, but I mean, I wonder what you think of their approach, and if you do get your therapy approved, I mean, would you follow a similar way of doing things to what they're doing? Or?
Yeah, it's always the same question about the price of treatments for rare disease. You have to give an incentive for company to work on that, and on the other hand, if it's too expensive, some patients may never have the possibility to have that treatment. Well, for Luxturna, the good thing in their approach is that they have announced in the press that they have negotiated a price for it's $600K or something like this, which is quite high for two eyes. Their treatment is supposed to be curative, and if it allow people not to become blind, people will stay active and will go on working and have a normal life instead of becoming blind and needing a lot of help. And, you know, so you have to consider the global cost of the disability versus the cost of the treatment. This is one approach. And Spark with Luxturna announced that price, but also that there will be two assessments after treatment for each patient. I think one is at 90 days after treatment, and the other one 30 months after treatment. And if there is not a sustainable effect measured at that time, then there will be a reimbursement of part of the paid price.
Okay.
23% or so each time. So it's pay if success.
Okay. So I suppose it's how much do you value your site, I suppose.
Sorry?
How much do you value your site? Yeah. I mean, it's a difficult one.
It's a difficult one.
So I mean, orphan disease and rare disease is obviously an area which you've specialised in. Do you think it needs a different approach to developing drugs for other applications, or do you think there's different considerations that you need to think about? For example,
you mean rare or large indication, or?
Well, like I mean, both the diseases you've worked on in the different companies. I mean, they're both
yes, completely different.
I mean,
in Trophos it was CNS, small molecules, and rare disease, and in Orama it's gene therapy, ophthalmology, and rare disease. This is the only common point.
But for example, some of the regulations I believe are slightly different.
So it's a rare disease approach in both cases, so that's very specific rare disease approach. But gene therapy is a quite new area, and in terms of regulatory, there is a lot of things to do, and everybody is learning at the same time. So we have to discuss a lot with the regulatory bodies and to find commonly a pathway.
Okay, so I think that's probably a really good opportunity to open it up to the audience. So I don't know if anyone has any questions at this point for Christine.
Oh, we always take lessons from what we see, because nobody knows how to go straight. So, but GeneSight is working on a very difficult disease, which is LHON, And the fact is that sometimes the eye has a spontaneous recovery. So to compare a treated eye with an untreated eye, it's very difficult because you don't know what is the part of the treatment and the spontaneous recovery. And yeah, that's a difficult one. But I'm sure they have not finished. You know, they are still digging into the results. I don't know where they are, but the first the top line results, or the you know, were disappointing. But let them a chance to dig further in the in the data. This is a good one for good question about gene therapy. The manufacturing is progressing in parallel of the biotech company developing gene therapy treatments. So that's a difficult one. There are not a lot of players in that area in the world, not only in Europe, but there are a few of them only. We are lucky enough at Horama to have people who have themselves developed how to produce that kind of product. So we are working very closely with the CMO which are producing our product. And this is the only way to have a chance to have a product on time and with a good level of quality. That's true that we are working on very rare disease. Our lead product is developing for a disease for which the prevalence is about 4,000 or 5,000 patients in US plus EU5, so that's quite very rare. But the second product is for an even more rare disease. So, but the fact is that for ophthalmology, you need small batches of products, so that's a bit helpful. That's also maybe a reason why gene therapy is developing well in ophthalmology. But I think the question is not being with one product in gene therapy. The question is being with one product as a biotech company. Failure are very, often they happens very often. You never know what will happen to your product, so it's better to have more than one. And also, when you have more products, you have a certain visibility, a certain size, which maybe allows you to discuss with bigger VCs, bigger investor with more money. And for example, at that time at Horama, we are too small to go and raise money in the US. And if we add 1 or 2 products to our pipeline, maybe we can think to do so. So, yeah, it's to be too small in certain area is not easy. But you do with the money you are able to raise. You know, it's.
Were you thinking on the stock market, or do you think more private investment?
For the moment, private investment.
Okay.
But you never say never. We don't know yet, because we have only treated a few patients who were very advanced in the disease, because it's a phase 1-2, so we start with very advanced patients. And to date, we have nothing to say. We don't know about efficacy. It's too early for that, and we only have our proof in concept in the dog. No, Breyer is for RP65. For PD6 beta, it's Irish setters.
Maybe there's one with golden.
No, I cannot say that, because you have to adapt to what you find. You have first of all, you have to be a team. Alone, you can't do anything. And you come with with your skill, and you share with the others, and that's all. Maybe listen to the rest of your team. That's a good, good advice. In Orama, for the moment, we are working to expand the company. We are not looking for an exit right now. This is not our immediate strategy. Although you are always thinking to it. You know, it's the same when you buy a house, you always have to think, will you be able to sell it if you need to? Okay, this is the same question, but no, we are not working on building an exit right now. But you know, when you think to your development strategy, you think to the exit, but it's for later. And the exit, if you become bigger, the exit maybe can be through an IPO, for example, or after an IPO. Becoming a public company is another way to offer an exit to the shareholders. For very small companies, they don't like that because of the lockup they have. But if you want to become bigger, they may accept that maybe more easier. Not sure. Yeah, that's a good one. So for the first one, to jump from Series A to Series B, with the Series A, so when I joined the company, so it was in April or May 2016, there were only one employee. Orama is a spin-off of the INSERM lab, Nantes and Montpellier. And there were some five or six scientific founders, and they met with an entrepreneur, and together they have launched the company. At the beginning, they had some money from family office and business angels, and then they started to organize that Series A. I came just for the conclusion of it. They did most of the work for that, and but with that money. The objective, because I was a second employee of the company, first of all to build a team, you know, find a CMO, first of all. And you know, we are now 8. That's not a big team, but we have all the skill necessary to perform good development, clinical development. So first of all, have a team. With no team, we do not. You don't exist. You can't discuss with bigger, you know, VCs. So a product first, but it was there before I joined the company, and then a team, and a good business plan. You know, a story to tell, to make them dream with you. Well, the discussion with the Series B, so it took me 1 year to do this. And I thought it would have taken 6 months, but no. a full year to do so. And it's very difficult to prevent them by talking together behind you, you know. That's very, very difficult. And so you talk to one, and you hope that you will, you know, maintain kind of a competitive process or something. That's very difficult with the VCs because they all know the others. So you have to deal with that. And well, once you are advanced in discussion for the due deal, you try, you know, to organize and to say. To ask them not to spend too much time, etc. But that's very difficult. But because it's they have to work and to be convinced. But at the same time, it's a job of not seduction, but you have to give confidence, and therefore you have to allow the necessary time for them to reach that confidence level to be able to work together. So you try to have one lead. We had one. Coma was the lead, but the others are also to be considered, and you have to deal with them as well. Yeah. And to build that kind of team.
Great. Well, thank you ever so much, Christine. I wonder if we
you.
could have a round of applause. It's fantastic. Thank you very much.